Grant, you ready? Okay. Call this meeting to order. All right, we're going to start with the opening ceremony. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. FLSD policy 0165.1. Please stand and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Who wants to read the mission and vision?
Our mission is to foster academic and social growth for each student in a safe, supportive school environment. Our vision is to be a learning community that inspires our students and our staff to think critically, grow intellectually, and live with integrity.
All right. Thank you. Item 3, can I have a motion for additions to and approval of the agenda?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Are there any?
Any additions to or updates to the agenda? Motion passes.
So I guess we voted too soon.
Yep, sorry.
Okay.
I guess we're supposed to
So-
vote after that. My bad. All right, number 4. All right, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of June 20th, 2023?
So moved. And I'll second.
Okay. Any updates or discussion on the minutes? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, Jen, you're filling in for Lori today. Can I have
am.
the admin
Awesome.
report?
Okay. Actually, I'm going to hand it over to Eric Muchmore first to give us an update about our wrestlers.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
So I wanted to share, if you haven't heard, Finneytown sent 4 wrestlers from our varsity wrestling team to the 2023 Junior and 16U National Championship Wrestling Tournament in Fargo, North Dakota this past weekend. They actually just returned a few hours ago, and those students were freshman James Paudell. Actually, James is going this coming weekend. But the 3 who just returned are Shauna Tinsley, she's a freshman, Rochelle Ross is a freshman, and Catherine Murillo as well. There were 64 wrestlers in each bracket, and this is the biggest wrestling tournament on a national level. And so to represent Team Ohio from Finneytown is an amazing accomplishment for these student athletes. I know the program is really taken off. Coach Coffey, Adam Coffey, and assistant coach Lynn Voles, and all the others who participate and give their time in coaching are really proud of their student athletes for what they've accomplished. To have 4 wrestlers from Finneytown represent Team Ohio is amazing. We were the best represented school from the Cincinnati area on Team Ohio, so all schools in Cincinnati, we had the most participating. And so I just wanted to recognize them tonight for all their hard work, and we wish James the best of luck when he travels up to Fargo, North Dakota next weekend. And if you get a chance, check out our wrestling program. They're doing special things. That's it.
Eric, if you get an update on how they did, could you send the board members an email just to let us know their results and that kind of thing?
Sure, I can let you know right now.
Oh, okay.
Shauna Tinsley, she started off strong, won her first match, and then fell in the next 2. Rochelle and Catherine, they both had great performances. They lost their first 2 matches, and that was it.
But representing is still a really big deal, so that's awesome.
Yeah,
So-
most important.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And yeah, I just got off the phone with Coach Coffey. He said they all showed up very well and represented our community and
Good stuff.
the school very well. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Mhm.
Eric and Mike Kennedy interviewed all 4 of them, and Coach Coffey and Coach Voles. It's in the podcast episode dropped this morning, and then there's also a YouTube video that includes their families, so that's
Great.
worth the watch.
Cool.
Thank you.
Sticking with the sports theme, there's a team that I'm not actually part of, but Laurie, Eric, Grant, Gerald Carroll, Lynn Bowles, Kay Sanders, Maggie Laird, and I'm not sure if I'm forgetting anyone. They're planning the fall sports kickoff event. This will be our second of athletic kickoff. There was one in the spring that was really successful. So during the kickoff, this will be a chance for our fall athletes and their families. There'll be pictures for social media, a cookout. There's a state mandated coaches meeting for each season of sports, so that'll take place during that time. Spirit wear, games, and boosters will be there. So that will take place on August 7th. We also are still finishing up hiring. Both buildings still have some positions to fill. We have a health aide position we're interviewing for our preschool, but we're getting close to the end. The principals and the hiring teams have been working really hard since April with hiring. So it's a time-intensive process, but certainly the most important thing we do. A couple other updates. I think Laurie said she included these in her updates to you, but we have been busy planning planning the DLT, our district leadership team retreat takes place at the end of July and the beginning of August, and then we have our district office retreat in early August. And then our facilitator team, that's Tammy Dietz, Mike Kennedy, Mike Rosa, and Lauren Henline design and facilitate a staff restorative practices and project-based learning retreat. And that is next week, so we've been busy.
And the kickoff is like the tailgate, right? Is that what that is? Is that the same event or not?
It is not the same
Okay.
event.
Okay.
There'll be a tailgate that is usually right around one of the first football games of the
Yes,
season. So,
okay.
yeah, that the whole community gets invited to, and yeah,
Okay,
what we've
gotcha.
done.
So that's different.
Yep.
Any questions? All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Moving on to number 6, public address. Did we have any forms turned in or anyone who wishes to speak? Nope. All right. Item 7, board coordination matters. Who wants to start?
Let's start. It's going to be brief, though. Just had a couple of reminders. August 9th is back to school bash for our kindergartners starting our newest Wildcats. Thank you to the staff for making that happen again. Before COVID, we haven't had it. So thanks to those who got that together. August 21st is open house from 4:30 to 7. Keep that in your calendar. Also, the staggered start, I know it can be a little bit confusing, so I wanted to reiterate that. If you are A through I, you're going to start August the 22nd. H through O, August 23rd. P through Z, August 24th, and all students will start collectively on August 25th. Ms. Wyrick, she is looking for someone to start leading the book fairs. She's led over 22 years, so she's looking to step down. So if you're interested or know anybody who's interested in stepping up and replacing her, reach out to her for that information. There are still some open positions for the PTA. There's carnival chair, concessions. If you're interested in getting involved and getting in the know, reach out to April Stat and she can get you set up for that. I also want to thank all the PTA members who are currently serving, doing the audits and the budgets. These are all volunteers. They're putting in a lot of time and hours. So thanks to all those leading with all the great work that's happening here in Finneytown. Capitol Conference is coming up. The registration opens July 24th for anybody interested in attending the Capitol Conference for the OSBA. The dates are November 12th through the 14th in Columbus for any board members who are interested. Also, August 9th is the deadline to run for the Board of Education. There are resources online if you would like to get on board. Cliche. Yeah, and they also have a webinar on July 22nd, and that can be found on the website as well. We need hardworking, dedicated people who are committed to our staff and our students. If you're interested or need any help, feel free to reach out to either one of us, and we can point you in the right direction. So that's all I have.
That's a good pun.
Yeah.
Well done.
Hey, Jalecia.
Yeah.
Ms. Miller just wanted me to reiterate that secondary campus does not participate in the staggered start. So they just
Oh,
start
okay.
on the first student day, which is that Tuesday.
So good to know, good.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
All right, I think I'm next. So I also have a pretty brief little time to share as well. The FMPA does not meet in July, so they'll get back to work in August, so they're taking time off for their families, and there's not a whole lot going on with music over the summer other than marching band. Long-range facilities planning also did not meet this month. I haven't heard any other updates of any kind related to facilities other than what we have on the agenda for tonight. I actually have not had a chance to talk to Lori about this, but my understanding is that what we're voting on later tonight is it's consultation. It's not actually committing to which buildings are developed. I think it's some sort of hiring for consultation, but we'll get to that later. But from the way I was reading over it, it doesn't look like it's actually a commitment at this point to demolish Brent, because we haven't had a discussion about that. But I guess we could talk about that when we get to it. Might need a little bit of clarification on that myself, actually. I did have actually one of the social workers that works with our foster son. She actually shared that her daughter was involved in the teacher interview process as a high school student, and that she really enjoyed that. So I know that's something new that came about in the last few years with the hiring revamping process. So I think that's just really cool that we do that as a district. Because I know there's other districts that do. There's one other district that I actually interviewed with myself, and they had a student interview panel and made an impression to me as a teacher, even though I didn't end up accepting a job there. But I think it's really cool that we have our students involved in that way. And I wasn't sure, do we have elementary students that are
Yes,
involved
my
for
boys
the
did it.
elementary
They
school
did it
teachers
this
too?
summer, yeah. They
That's
got
really
boys.
cool.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Very cool opportunity.
So she had good things to say, and it sounded like she was taking some ownership in the process, because she was like, this teacher was, she didn't really say anything specifically, but it sounded like she just said that she enjoyed it. She's like,
Oh, good.
she's like, oh, we still need to find this teacher for this job, and she was telling me things that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
That is nice.
Other than that, I do have a personal note. My wife is pregnant. Her name's Becca, and she also went to Finneytown, so she's due at the end of January. So she's been pretty sick. So I'm here, but always within reach of my phone, because she may need me. So she generally has rough pregnancies. So I will still be here, but you might see a little bit less of me, or might not be as responsive. So I will do my best to be responsive to emails and phone calls and things, but it's kind of going to be a difficult 7 more months for us. But it'll be exciting. It's baby's born, so still don't know if it's a boy or girl, but we'll be finding out tomorrow. So
Congrats.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Wish her an easier pregnancy.
Yes.
I know it's hard.
Hope so. It's a little better than 3 years ago. So,
That's good.
yeah.
Mine is pretty brief too. Most of it was OSBA stuff that's already been covered. The only other thing I noticed was there is a reasonable suspicion training. If any of our staff need to take that, it's virtual through the OSBA on August 2nd. The boosters, I have nothing to report yet because their meeting starts in 15 minutes. So as soon as this is done, I'm going to be heading over to that meeting. Beyond differences, I don't think it's time for a report yet from them, but they do have a survey that they have sent out. They would love anybody in the community and the staff or parents, students, anyone who is involved at all in Finneytown to fill out the survey. It's pretty big and comprehensive, but it will cover everything and kind of give them guidance on where we need to go and what we need to do. So please fill that out, and if you need help getting that link, let me know. We'll get that to you. Yeah, that's everything I have.
All right, brief one for me as well. Did not meet with Chris from the township, but just a request. Later in the meeting, we're going to be, I assume, recognizing district support organizations. If you can volunteer, please volunteer to help out these groups. They do wonderful work, and they just need as many people as they can to do, not just to give them a break, to find other voices out there to help with these organizations and to help them grow. So if you or anyone that you know might be interested in helping, please volunteer to help out these organizations, because they do directly impact the school. And so that's all I have there.
Great.
Okay. Anything else in board coordination? All right. Moving on to item 8, financial matters. First item is the adoption of the consent calendar. Do I have a motion?
I will move.
Second?
Okay. Mr. Oliverio.
Okay, thank you. First item is the monthly financial report. And this report is for the close of the fiscal year. So this is full year's worth of finances represented here. So it was a pretty good year. We had total revenues for the fiscal year of $20,620,950 in the general fund. We had expenditures of $20,039,403, and our revenues exceeded our expenditures by $581,546. We were also able to make, per the board's approval, a $1.5 million transfer to a capital projects fund, which will help fund the master plan projects that we did not have money for. And so that's very good, so we can coordinate some of the activity and take place with the OFCC construction project. So a good year, and the cash balance, ending cash balance grew a little bit, so that's a good thing. What we always hope to see. A lot more detail attached. Are there any questions about that report?
So the ending cash balance includes that 1.5 million that was moved?
No,
it does not.
that's after moving
Okay,
it.
so we're still growing our cash balance even with that move? is
Yes,
what you're
we
saying.
did.
Even though our, the 550,000, so that was the amount of, the amount of extra revenues. So then what was the other $1 million there? Or the 1.5 million that was in our general fund, that's moved to a capital.
So we moved it to
project
the
fund.
070
Okay.
fund. It's a capital projects fund, and the board approved that
Yes, I remember we did.
a month ago, and that will be used for construction.
Okay, but even though that's coming out of what was our cash balance, there must have been another $1.5 million that we also had somewhere else. So that's kind of.
Had I
what I'm
not
asking about.
transferred the
Yeah.
1.5 million,
Yeah.
we would have had a $2 million
Okay.
surplus.
That's what I was trying to get at. So we actually had a pretty large,
Yes.
a very large surplus. That's great.
Yes. Mhm.
And what was that due to? Just,
That's due to
Increased-
careful
is it-
stewardship.
is it ESSER funds?
Interest
as well
rates.
Still?
Actually,
ESSER's, good stewardship?
ESSER certainly helps.
Favorable tax revenues?
They were on target.
Okay,
Yeah. Mhm. Yep.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Item B, depository investment balances as of June 30th, 2023. U.S. Bank, $930,085. U.S. Bank Construction Fund, $3,673,302. Star Ohio, $20,267,921. Star Ohio Construction Fund number 2, $3,126,941. Star Ohio Construction Fund number 1, $1,219,368. Item C is the interest earned on depository investment accounts for the month of June in the general fund. As Mr. Ray mentioned, nice interest income of $90,334. We also had construction fund interest earned for the month of $19,287.
So we can assume that about $1 million of the extra funds were probably, a
Yeah.
little less than that, probably 800 to $1 million was just
Yeah.
from interest.
Yes.
Well,
Item D is the monthly bond project spending and commitment report. And that report is showing that we've expended $23,655,220. And if you look at the very bottom, we have uncommitted dollars at this point in time of approximately $7.6 million. And that's what we'll use to construct the secondary campus. And that also includes $3 million that the board transferred to help with with inflation, and so, we feel like we're moving into this in a pretty good position to be able to take care of all the needs. But we'll see as we go.
So once we get the state funds, it'll be added to this amount.
Right.
Okay.
So this is our portion that we'll be spending. The state will be spending approximately $28 million of their money.
Except they keep it till the last moment.
Well, they do give it to us as we need it.
They get the interest on that money.
Yes.
We don't hold it for any more
We don't
than, you're
get
saying
the
we don't hold it
And
for
then
more
the
than a couple
million and a
days,
half
what
is
you're
on
saying.
top of this?
So, $1.5 million is another pool of money, not for this project at all, but for
Supplemental,
renovation
yeah,
of
okay.
PAC and our
Yep.
competition gym.
So, yeah,
Or ball fields.
Ball fields
Get that.
too, yes, as far as we can
okay.
take it. Mhm.
That's great.
Okay, item E is a recommendation to approve a payment to Liberty Mutual for $5,000. Item F is another recommendation to approve a payment also, to USI Insurance for $13,816. These are both insurance-related payments. And the reason these are written is because there was not a purchase order in place prior to the receipt of the invoice. That can sometimes happen at the beginning of the year. We received an invoice on July 1st. And the PO wasn't quite ready yet for this current year. Okay, item G is a recommendation to transfer funds, $2,000 to our band uniform replacement fund and $1,000 to our Family Involvement Center fund. And we do this every year at this time to help support those activities. Item H is a recommendation to approve and establish petty cash accounts, which makes it easy for people making small purchases rather than filling out purchase orders.
Is that for the year or is that a max purchase?
That's a maximum amount that's in those petty cash funds, and as receipts are turned in, we'll go ahead and replenish it so that.
Oh,
we
okay,
always
so
keep-
we're not limited to that, right? Because
Right.
that doesn't look like anything to me, but okay.
What was the $600 for? I know we have.
The $600 is the total of the
Oh, for all, okay.
items
I
on
was, okay.
prior
Just
page.
got there.
Sorry,
It was
Got it.
loading, yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't fit.
I
Okay,
do
got
have a
it.
question. It has one for Finneytown Elementary. Does the secondary need one as well?
So the secondary, the treasurer's office.
I was gonna say, I might just use yours.
Yeah, we have them come over and see us, so
Okay.
we help.
You basically function as, each of these kind of function as kind of like a little ATM for
Yeah,
whoever might
that's
need it
right.
at that campus or that time.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yep.
It's good.
Okay, well, that's the end of my report. Any questions?
Okay, I got 'em.
You already answered. All right, hearing no further questions, may I have a roll call vote?
Ms. Lee,
Yes.
Ms. McMullen,
Yes.
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Ray.
Yeah,
Motion passes. All right, moving on to item 9, the superintendent's recommendations. May I have a motion for 9.1, the adoption of the consent calendar?
I will move.
I'll second.
All right,
Okay, we have acknowledgement of resignations, some staff who are leaving us, which we certainly appreciate all that they offered us while they were here. Brad Pierce is a teacher. I think an earlier edition of this had him as a special education assistant. So if your draft of the agenda says that, that is incorrect. He is a teacher. We welcomed Kim Hoog. Am I saying that right, Dave?
I actually say Hoag.
Okay, Kim
But-
Hoag. We're welcoming Kim. She has taken over Ann's role, and so recently joined us and is learning things quickly, and we enjoy having her on the team. You can see item D are some of the hiring positions that both Carol and Meredith and their teams have done so far in there for approval. Item E is a long list of just the payment for certified staff members, and this goes through next July 2, so it's work they do. Sometimes they come and meet about curriculum. You'll see F is extended days for our facilitator roles. They design our new staff orientation, which is August 14th, 15th, and 16th, and then they also facilitate it. And then, as I mentioned earlier, They design the staff RP and PBL retreat, and then they facilitate that, which is a 2-day retreat. So that's where the extended days come in. The approval of payment in item G, that's the kindergarten camp that Jalecia mentioned. You'll see a lot of staff give time to be a part of that. Our family committee, I think you heard a presentation from them earlier in the year. So that's the team who designs things for the upcoming year for that. You'll see updates about, just for the upcoming school year, about student fees and school meal prices. Items J, and then also L. If you had questions, Dave would have to answer those because it's about the liability insurance, and I can't speak to that. K is because we do have a student who's in foster care, so we are the district of residence. We're not the district of service, but because we are the district of residence, we're responsible for our portion of the payment. Items M, N, and O cover our preschool program, which currently is, we collaborate with Hamilton County Educational Service Center for preschool. We don't run our own preschool program.
What are the pros and cons to doing that? I don't want to put you on the spot. You can get back with me later if it's too much to explain, but
No.
I know it's
the biggest.
chunk of money, but
And Laurie and I have talked, and we would certainly love to have our own preschool program. Dave is in these conversations as well. Right now, it's been with Hamilton County for quite a while, and they do a really great job. Sandy Krall is our preschool coordinator, and she's been in the preschool business for a long time. And those laws and everything are completely different. I think what has stopped us the past few years is just knowing that we had a new elementary building, and then now with the secondary building, because it will definitely take, it'll be a lot of hiring and getting a team and people up to speed on what are the laws for preschool, because they are
have the
different.
space right now, probably.
Well, that'll be another piece we'll have to figure out too. Yeah, I don't know, I think at one point, and I'm not on long-range facilities planning, but there was talk of Brent possibly being that space. But I think those conversations have kind of been put on pause. Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, I get it.
Because it is a large amount.
So this might be for Dave. Jen, are these numbers consistent, like with inflationary? Like, is this what you would have expected to pay?
It's always, sit down, because but yeah, actually, these numbers, they look really good. Actually, they look a little lower than last year, so.
They are right now because it's per pupil, like we pay per student.
Okay.
So, currently we don't have as many students who are in the program, so.
And we're required by law to make these payments because that's our contribution, is that correct?
We
To have this program?
Well, we pay for all the program,
Yeah.
and we are required to provide it to the students that under law are
So
entitled
it'd
to
be our
these
choice as a district
services.
if we offer it under our own roof or
Yeah.
or through the ESC.
But students with disabilities are required by law to receive these services.
Got it.
Thank you. Sorry to
Sure,
put you on the spot
no,
there.
it was okay.
Thanks, Dave.
Item P is what Jamie mentioned. We do this every year, asking the board to recognize the following district support organizations. So while they are not school district organizations, they absolutely provide a lot of support for us. Athletic Boosters, Elementary PTA, Music Parents Association, the foundation, Finneytown Schools Educational Foundation, and Secondary PTA do countless things for our district, and certainly we would not be able to offer our kids all the things we do if we didn't have their support. And then we would also like the board to recognize FAA, Finneytown Athletic Association, as an official community partner. Q is another insurance one directly related to the support organizations. And then we had a $200 cash donation to our high school arts department from Conover Dental, right on Winton Road. So we'd like to thank them for that donation and recommend the board accept that.
You have one more on there.
Okay, not on the one I typed, sorry. Or I
Sorry.
printed. That's okay.
It's an approval of agreement amendment for Peterman. Is that still correct?
Yes,
Okay.
I added that late, I'm sorry.
Okay, Dave, we'll
I
talk
was gonna
later.
say.
Yep.
So, yes, we did come to agreement with Peterman.
Okay.
And so this is the deal we were able to work out. And
I haven't
they've
even
done
had a chance to
a
look at
pretty
it.
good job. We thought about bringing this in-house, but that's a great challenge right now because of the difficulty in acquiring drivers. And they've been able to do a pretty good job over last year, so we're going to stay with them.
Okay.
And we did look to take it out to bid, but they don't really have any competition, so we didn't have any other choices.
How many drivers do we have approximately? That
But we
work
have
for us?
11 routes
Okay.
right now that we need drivers every day for, and then
So we've met
some subs.
15, 16 people, so they have subs that can
Yeah,
fill.
there's 11 normal drivers, and
Mhm.
then they have an additional 3 subs that are very
Okay.
regular. And then Janelle, who is our transportation supervisor, can also sub.
Okay.
Ideally not, because we want her in the office on
Yeah.
the phone, but, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, can I have a roll call vote?
Ms. McMullen?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes. Motion passes. All right, item 10, resolution suspending employment contract for a classified staff member. May I please have a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Okay. Does anyone want to cover that, or has everyone read through it? Do we need to read it? Are there any questions? Okay, I think this one we've had some information passed to us, so I'm comfortable voting. Everyone else's? Does this one need a roll call, or are we just,
Yeah.
all right?
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes,
Ms. McMullen?
Yes.
item passes. All right, moving on to item 11, an approval of agreements, Finneytown School District Board of Education in conjunction with the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission. May I have a motion?
I'll
Oh.
move.
And I'll second.
Okay,
I can talk a little bit about this.
okay,
These are 3 contracts that Finneytown is entering into with the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission with these vendors. We've got the architect contract, we have a commissioning agent, and we also have a neutral facilitator, which is designed to make sure that we keep, we build a strong relationship with the architect and the construction manager. So very forward-thinking, I guess, trying to make sure that we don't get in trouble before we do. So anyway, these, OFCC requires the board approve these, so, and put these in a resolution, so,
Yeah,
did you have a question?
Yeah, my point of clarification was Brent's mentioned in here, we as a board, we've discussed that, I think, a little bit, but I wasn't sure if this is a commitment to, we are for sure demolishing Brent, or if this is just a mentioning Brent so that that's an option for co-funding for demolition when we get to that point, because we'll have to have a separate vote on that in the future, is that correct?
Yeah, that's part of one of the whereas, and
Okay.
what it does is it mentions the entire project that's covered, that we have joint funding for,
Yeah.
co-funding, and so, yes, we will bring a contract to you at the time that, and of course, we'll talk to you ahead of time about any recommendation to demolish. This is not a contract to do that.
Okay. So this would have had to happen before we demolish Whitaker as well?
We would-
or-
Yes,
or would it have
a
had to?
contract just
Okay.
like this, yes, that would come to you. Uh-huh.
Okay. But this would have had to happen before that contract specifically for Whitaker? We'd have to have this agreement with, or is this just, this is the time when we're, or is that part of the previous phase of the project and therefore we wouldn't have needed this? Does
So you
that make
guys
sense?
have already approved Whitaker.
Yeah, I thought we already,
So, I mean, this is fundamentally the plan to do the demolition. Like, there's a lot of planning involved. And so this is that, part of that scope of work. And
Got
so
it.
that's just what it's talking about.
Got it.
And so then there will be, at some point, a resolution brought to you for Brent.
Okay.
So,
The main reason I was asking is because I know people from the community, they're like, is Brent going? Is it staying? Some community members or people actually that live in different parts of the community are like, is Brent even still there? Yes, it's still there. But we as a board just hadn't had that kind of
Yeah.
discussion or necessarily, I'm not even sure if we've had a recommendation from the administration about what to do
I don't think we brought that yet,
at this
but
point.
that will be, once we have more information about that process, we'll be bringing that to you. And we can definitely make sure that there's an opportunity to have conversation through
Yeah,
that.
and if we're informed and we're all able to answer questions about
Yeah.
why that recommendation's made, then that'll make it easier when we're explaining it to the community or whichever way we go.
But it is, just for clarity, it is part of the scope of work that the state will co-fund. And so we do want to try and utilize as much of that co-funding as we can.
For sure.
So,
And last we heard, it would be about $7 million to bring Brent up to a place where we can use it
Yeah.
as fully functioning
Right.
classroom space.
Yes. I just want to comment on the consulting and the extra neutral party. We did talk about this in the kickoff meeting with OFCC and lots of people there, and there seemed to be quite a lot of benefits that outweighed the cost of having one, and I think everyone there, unless I misread something, seemed to agree that it was a good cost to have, that there's a lot of advantages to having someone who's an expert in the room who is a neutral party.
What is the cost? It doesn't say in here, so, or
It's,
does it?
It
Okay,
does
yeah,
have
does.
it,
Okay, it says-
$16,500.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course,
that's not
the
very much.
state pays their shares.
Yep.
So they pay half, or 60% of that 16?
Right.
Okay.
So who picks the companies that do the actual work on the new building?
Yeah, so they're co-selected, and in some cases, it's put out for bid. In other cases, there are companies that are pre-qualified, and so we have the opportunity to select from that list.
Pre-qualified by us or by the state?
By the state.
So there's no way for us to ensure that these companies provide health care for their workers or retirement plans or get a certain percentage of their staff from like apprenticeship programs? I'd like to
No,
be
yeah.
socially conscious if we can
Yeah,
and keep local workers working on this rather than companies that just move around the country and, because didn't we get to like our fourth sub on mortars, like on masonry on the elementary school?
Yeah, yeah, that's information that I don't actually have,
Okay.
but we can ask that question.
Yeah.
I would like it asked.
So
If
we
possible.
have control- We do have control over the subcontractors. There's an approval process that we can go through with them. They are, the CMR, the Construction Manager at Risk, has a process to approve them, and then we have oversight. It is, there's a whole lot of oversight from the state in this project. It's very different from what we did across the street.
Mhm.
That was local money, that was our bond money, versus what we're about to do, which is state money. And so we are gonna be abiding by the state, which is gonna be more rigorous.
Right, and if we could do that or have any of that type of that, I would like us to consider that if possible,
And there's-
just to be local with our dollars and keep them here.
Yeah, and that's that's what the construction manager at Risk, they're always looking at what is the best benefit, and looking at a variety of companies. And then we have an opportunity to review them, and if we have had some bad experiences with subcontractors, or we have something else, like, we can have input on that.
Okay.
So they'll give us their approved list, and then we'll see who's necessarily more interested of that list, and then we choose from that. Is that-
It's a little bit more than that.
Typically,
I wasn't in the
they will
meeting that
have
you were.
one that is selected that is within our budget, or that they know is a quality vendor. And so, but if we have had bad experience, we know that there's something there, we do have that opportunity
Okay.
to have input on that.
And then it would kind of start over with looking for different
Yeah,
vendors,
we
what it
just have
sounds
to
like.
keep
So it's
working
not like,
through it, because
okay.
it's not a black and white process.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there is, but there is some push that we can have, for sure.
Do you have any more discussion or questions on item 11? All right, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Ray,
Yeah,
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Ms. Lee,
Yes,
Ms. McMullen.
Yes.
item passes. Sorry, this one's a long one. Let me look through. All right, review of action steps. I don't know if we had any.
Nothing came up.
Nope. All right, moving on to item 13. The next regular board meeting of the Finneytown Board of Education will take place on Monday, August 21st, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. in the Media Center at the Finneytown Secondary Campus, 8916 Fontainebleau Terrace, Cincinnati, Ohio 45231. Open forum will begin at 6 p.m. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.
I'll
We're gonna go leave to the next meeting.